In the fifth series, I'm starting the parts where I'm painting John Cobb, and I'm first doing the tones, getting the skin color right and the facial composition or the proportions. And when I'm looking to your left, that is basically me looking at pictures of John Cobb. The picture of him in the car, that original photograph, isn't very clear. So I found various photos and videos of him on the net, and I'm using all of those for references. And it's kind of difficult to me because, what do you do? Do you put emotion in? Must he be smiling or looking like he's enjoying it, or maybe he's a serious racer with a white knuckle ride, or maybe he's scared? I don't know. So I'm painting the way I feel. I'm trying to feel it through. How would I have felt if I had this record-breaking car and I'm driving at speeds no one ever has driven at before on a dangerous racing circuit like that? And I keep that in the back of my head constantly, working. How do I do it? What will be better? What would look more, I don't know, what would look more truthful? What would be more interesting? What would look cooler, and what would move people? And how would I feel if I was driving that car? What would I look like? Would I be smiling or crying, or I don't know. So anyway, it's been brought to my attention that my videos are a bit too serious. So I thought up a joke for you folks. I really hope you're gonna laugh. If you don't, then I'm sorry. But it's one I like. And here it goes. Chuck Norris can go north from the North Pole. So anyway, back to the serious car painting. I'm working on the details, and as I'm working on the details of the car, I see things about the road or the surface that I want to change. So I go back and forth with that. You can see that I'm now adding a new tone to the surface of the racing track, and I'm making it a bit more yellow and giving it a bit more red. It doesn't really stand out on this video, but the color is getting more orangey. I think I felt that it was too blue, so you want to brighten it up a little bit. And to me, I'm picturing a warm day. It doesn't look very cold to me. I don't know. It doesn't look wintry. The grass is green and things like that. And here's my upside down trick again. Not a trick. It's just a method of getting the wheels round. Because sometimes when you don't really get your wheels right, they may end up looking like Easter eggs. If the apexes of the wheels are not, I call them apexes, if the top and bottom radiuses are not the same, and if it's not symmetric around the center, then it looks a bit funny, and people don't always pick that up. artists are by nature optimistic about the work they are doing, so they're not always looking for problems with their own drawings, because they're just enjoying painting and drawing and eager to see the end product, not thinking about mistakes. And I learned this from mechanical drafting. When you're a draftsman as well, you have the same problem. That's why it's preferable to have a checker to check your drawings, because someone else will find more mistakes in your work than you would tend to. So I'm still now busy with the upside down painting, sorting out the wheels. I've measured them just to make sure that they are symmetric, because it really annoys me when I'm looking at my end product and I see mistakes. It is extremely annoying and embarrassing. I can actually end up feeling ashamed about the painting, which would normally be perfectly good to the collectors and the people out there. Everyone enjoys it, but I see the mistakes and it really kills me inside. And still busy fixing the wheels. This actually took me quite a while to work through the wheels, make sure that I'm happy with all of them. And now I'm working on a shadow, trying to get that right. And all along I'm fine-tuning the how can you say it, the perspective of the drawing, how the lines are disappearing into the future, into the past, sorry, not future, into the past. But everything must seem like it's flashing by, and but it must go in the right direction. So if you do the direction wrong, then the car isn't traveling in the right direction. And when you're done fixing your wheels, you turn it right side up again, and then you can continue with the work. So at this stage I am very happy with how it is starting to turn out, and I'm very optimistic about it. I'm enjoying the work now, and I'm settling into my rhythm and just taking it as it comes. And I'm looking very forward to the end. And at the same time, I keep on looking for those mistakes. The saying goes that the devil is in the details. And sometimes you only see the details afterwards. And I'm trying to avoid that. Here's a close-up of John Cobb. I was struggling with those glasses because he wore these interesting aviator kind of goggles, but I've never seen any like those, because normally it looks like it's made of leather, but these look quite metallic with just a leather strap around his head. But the one parts around his eyes, at all the lenses, the whole thing looks metal. I don't know if it's aluminium or what it is. But the challenge with goggles like that is to get the eyes aligned. You want the eyes to look in the same direction at the same focal point, and if you get that wrong, you can mess up the whole face. This is quite tricky because you're not looking at his face directly from the front or say at a 45-degree angle. This is just off center, and you don't want the eyes to kind of peek or peer out of the goggles. They must be inside the goggles, so you must have a little bit of depth in there. And I'm working a lot on that now to just give that feeling that the goggles are not in his face but on his face, and his eyes are behind the lenses. And also I'm trying to get the shirt to flap in the air, in the wind. The wind must be tearing at that shirt like you wouldn't believe at 240 or 230 kilometers an hour. Even though he has that shield in front of him, there should still be some kind of turbulence. I don't know if any one of you have ever had a ride on the back of a pickup truck. When I was a kid, that was one of my favorite things, is when my father drove around in his pickup, or his, I don't know what they call it overseas in all the places. I think in Australia it's called a ute or a UTE or something like that. But when I was a kid and I would sit on the back of that pickup with my father driving, I would peek in through the rear window and see what speed he was doing. And when he was doing 100, it felt like I was going to get ripped off the back of that vehicle. It was extremely exciting and scary. And that's only 40% of the speed that this car was achieving, with John Cobb sticking out his head like that into the wind and having just a normal shirt that shields him from the wind. That's just fascinating to me. The windscreen that I'm painting here, I think it was the wrong one, so I changed it later on. That's why I'm not going to show too much about that. And also the one on the grille, on the radiator, that was also difficult because I cannot get any proper detail showing me that one. Was it painted on the radiator core? And if so, was the radiator core one of those honeycomb type cores, or was it a straight fin radiator? Okay, at this part I'm now sanding the dried windscreen paint off again, and I'm painting over it, fixing my mistake. I decided to paint the windscreen the way it should be, according to me, and in this case there's just a small windscreen that sits on top of that aluminium aerofoil, or I suppose aerofoil, what would you call it? Anyway, so back to the number 1 on the grille, which I've painted here in a kind of a honeycomb setup. I decided that since I cannot see what that radiator looks like, or if there is a mesh in front of it or anything, usually in motorsports they would put a mesh in front of the radiator to protect it from stones and things that gets thrown up by the other cars. And you can see it a lot on the old Bentley cars, because they are sometimes green and sometimes they have been chromed or plated. And I decided here, since I cannot see what it looks like, I would like to make it a mesh pattern, just like the Bentleys had. I would expect a race car engineer or mechanic or constructor to have something to protect the radiator that's so exposed like it is in this car. And for that reason I decided to go for the mesh, which is going to follow very soon. Just tweaking the windscreen again. Something else that's interesting to me or difficult is painting metal objects. That little cap that I just did on the bonnet of the car, or protruding through the bonnet of the car, I suppose it's an oil filler cap or something of the sort. Not sure what it is, but it has a brass kind of look to it. Adding more character to the face now. I work a lot on the faces. I would have loved to be a portrait painter. I love people's faces, I love figures and people and facial expressions and emotions and characters and hairstyles, all kinds of things about people I do like and find extremely interesting. And I would have loved to be a portrait painter, but I don't think I'm good enough. Maybe I am. I don't know. I'm very hard on myself when it comes to these things. But from my experience with people, I don't like to sell portraits or do commissions with portraits because people are always unhappy with the way that I paint them. They're either too fat or too skinny or too light or too dark, or I don't know. So I avoid commissions like that. I do get inquiries about it. When I paint people, I do it for myself mostly. Or I think with John Cobb it can be different. Doesn't really matter too much if John Cobb doesn't look pretty, because he's not even gonna know about it. And here I'm starting to do the layout for the mesh pattern on the nose of the car, on the grille of the car. Now I'm not gonna do it too perfect, because again I do not believe in having things too perfect. I like the mistakes in a character of imperfections. This is a lot of work. It's very fine work. Those wire strands that I'm painting now are about, I don't know, 1 millimeter thick. And I'm having my hand in the air all the time, only supporting it with that mahl stick. This is the next day and I'm continuing with it. And I must say I'm very happy with the way it came out, even if it's not authentic. If it's not authentic, then I'm sorry. Too bad. One of those things. We'll just look at it as artistic freedom or something like that. But I think it will look cool. Sometimes it's more important to look cool than to look right. I don't know. Because I've seen paintings that look right that came out terrible. Many of them were mine. I'm now doing detail on that windshield, if you can call it that. What do they call those things on bikes again? Fairings. On bikes it's fairings. I'm not much of a biker, but I don't know if you can call that thing a fairing. It's more a windshield kind of thing, but it's not a windscreen. Putting in rivets now, and the details are the things that start to make the painting more realistic. These are just the louvers on the bonnet. They are quite tricky to do because at this angle you cannot really see much. Anyway, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe and share, and hopefully I'll see you with the final episode next week.